Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. So glad you decided to tune in. Joined as I am each and every Friday by Coach Holt, Tony Holt, that you see here on the screen. So, Coach, hey, it was a great series with the A's. The A's are terrible. Not going to sugarcoat that, but give us your overall thoughts on the series with the A's.
Well, as we talked about last week, the big stretch of games coming up, and the Dodgers are going to sweep these guys. As you mentioned, they're not very. I think it was their 80th loss last night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Sometimes you have things come along. Boy, we really needed that come along at the right time. But even in high school ball, and me and you have done, sometimes you need one of those teams to come across like, man, we need a break from teams we've been playing, and you never think you have that in the major league level because the A's have major league players, but obviously their major league players aren't as good as our major league players and a lot of other people. So it came along at a good time, a chance for the Dodgers, especially the trade deadline with some new people coming in, and it was a good way to kind of start off with some new faces in the clubhouse, heading into an even more important stretch of games coming up.
No doubt about it. Okay, so you mentioned the new faces in the clubhouse, and I've said all year, Coach, that one thing at this Dodgers team, there's been ups and downs. The pitching has been decimated by injury. The offense, although statistically really good, it's had the ups and downs. We've talked about that. But the one thing this team has always been has been super gritty. They've just kind of dug in and just figured out ways to win. It's like whenever you drive home and you've made that drive so many different times that you kind of look back and go, I don't even remember driving. I don't even know how I got home. Yeah. That's kind of how you felt with a lot of the Dodgers wins this year when you look back on them. It's like, I have no idea how they won that game. I have no idea how they're 17 games over 500. I have no idea how they're 2.5 games in first place in the NL West, but they are. So this team has been gritty. Okay, so with all these new additions, Rosario, Lance Lynn, Joe Kelly, Kike Hernandez, Ryan Yarbrough, do you worry about any of that chemistry going away?
Yeah, you always do. As you know, Case, as a coach, every year has a mentality. Every team has an attitude.
Yes.
No 2 years are exactly the same, as we all know in the coaching profession. And as you mentioned, we've talked about this like on last week's show where the Dodgers here they are in first place. You're like, wow, they had all these major league all-star starters not with them on the injured list. So how are they in first place? Because of what you just said, they're gritty, they're playing, and as coach, you've heard me use the term "pretty boys." We had a lot of talents. We had you get those teams a lot of talent, and they kind of just roll out there and whip up on it. But sometimes, baseball is like you said with the dirt daubers. You were a dirt dauber yourself. I'll brag on you a little bit. Dirt daubers, it comes right down to it. Those hot times, struggling times you're struggling. You need those gritty players and mentality. So you're right. The Dodgers have developed that from being, quote unquote, the Southern California pretty boys, all rolling out there and whipping people, winning about 30 games. That wasn't that much, but win this division by 30. But anyway, now they went back to their roots. Dave Roberts was a grinder as a player. He was that guy. And there he is. There's your manager who's lived that life and done it with maybe some smoke and mirrors at times. It doesn't matter. It's the Major League Baseball. Get the W's, move on. But you're always going to worry about that. You have guys coming out. I don't know enough about the guys coming in. I'm not in the clubhouse. I don't have any reason to know anything what's going on. But no, you're always going to worry about that. Our chemistry is pretty good. We're in first place, facing all these obstacles. We want to continue to do that going forward. You don't want, and it only takes one, cog, chink in the armor to come in there to run some of that. So, but I think your leadership is so strong, Freddie and Mookie, those guys, not knowing them personally, but just from a distance looking. I think that leadership in that clubhouse will probably override some of that. But you don't want at this point of the season with 60 games or so left to jump in there where you got to kind of redefine yourself. That's not the time to do that.
No doubt about it. And that's, I say it all the time, and I don't know if anybody ever believes me when I say it, but it is absolute fact. This is why you have to be a Dodger, you have to be a better person than you are a baseball player. They absolutely vet that as much as they do their talent. That is a real thing. So, just kind of going into that scenario, bringing in new people, I assure you, Rosario, who would not be brought in, Lance Lynn, Joe, of course, you already know Joe Kelly, and Kike Hernandez, Ryan Yarbrough, These people would not be brought in if the Dodgers didn't already vet them in terms of the type of person, the type of people they are, type of people to be in the clubhouse.
Well, the Dodgers, the analytics now, the game of baseball has changed so much, and I'm sure they've got a whole floor in their complex of people doing analytics, and they did make these moves knowing they're going to get a jerk in there. Like you said, the guys they've had there before, they know what they're getting. Lance Lynn, I'm kind of I hate admitting it, somewhere a closet Cardinal fan down through the years.
Yeah.
I've seen him pitch quite a bit. He's got a lot of bulldog in him. I know he's getting older like the rest of us, but that guy's always been a guy when he walks up on the mound. You're going to get what you get from him, and so I've always liked Lance Lynn as a guy looking, watching from the distance. I think he'll fit in with that, and like you said, maybe they change the scenery and make his season turn around, and he's got a pretty good team behind him also. So he's got a better squad around him. So maybe this is just what Lance Lynn needed. But he's a true major league pitcher, and I've always liked his mentality. So we'll see.
Another thing the Dodgers need, they need to also know that a guy can handle the big moments, because you're coming into an environment and a culture that's getting ready to present you a ton of big moments, just being a Dodger to begin with. So you have to have that guy that can not only handle the big moment, but actually performs better when they're in those moments. And I think that is reason number one they went and got Kike Hernandez, because it seems like he always comes through.
Yeah, and there's just a few franchises that are in the upper echelon, in my opinion. Dodgers being one of them. As you mentioned, the Red Sox are one of them. The Cardinals, down through the history of baseball, so Kike went from the Dodgers to the Red Sox, another, storied franchise, packed house at Fenway every night. And Lance Lynn, I know the White Sox aren't on that level, but he played in St. Louis, arguably one of the best baseball towns in the world, if not the best. He's played in a situation where high expectations. So, these guys have relished in that. They're not going to shy away from that.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't, guarantee success, but at least they're not going to go look for a hole to crawl into.
No doubt. There's just so many more variables other than just talent that goes into making a championship caliber team, especially whenever you're changing the dynamics of it. When you're this far through the season, okay, let's move on. Okay, Will Smith, coach, I have a little bit of concerns with him. Mm-hmm. I've always said, I've said many different times, best catcher in baseball, all-star for the first time this year. But having said that, since the beginning of June, he's hitting just .228. And here's the thing, and I've said this many times, Austin Barnes is still my favorite player in the organization. When the Dodgers came to Oklahoma City in 2015, he was the first player that I got to meet. And you go and watch these guys in the minors, and you watch them just grind and their daily process, and you just really, you just grow to really admire these guys, I should say. So Austin Barnes is my favorite player in the organization, no doubt. You can't get around the fact that he's mightily struggled. Okay, so you're kind of getting double whammied with his production this year, in the sense that when he's playing, he's not producing for you. And it seems to me like they've had to play Will Smith a little bit more urgently than they would like to, because Austin Barnes isn't producing. And because of that, I think it's wearing Will Smith down, and that's why he's, at least one of the reasons why, he's just .228 since the beginning of June. Am I off there?
No, I don't think you are. I mean, you alluded to American Legion ball. I'll talk about something I know something about. You played a major league schedule in about 2 months there.
Yeah.
You had to give those catchers had to have a break in there somewhere, and it's even more so in the major league level. These guys, they take a beating every night, and he's such a good player, but yeah, he's not getting near enough rest. And like I said, well, what do? You're in a pennant race. You only got a 2-game lead. In the dog days of summer. What do? You can't put him down much when you got the guy behind him struggling. So it's going to be a total grind for Will Smith. You wish you had the big lead we had last year, where you could kind of rest him, and not worry about what's going on back there. But you don't have that luxury now. You're in a dogfight. The West Division is crazy. We got the Padres in 4th place, and they may scare me more than anybody in the big leagues. To play them in the playoff situation. So, you just don't have the luxury. And Dave Roberts' hands are tied. Will Smith's hands are tied. I got to have you. Got to have you, man. Do what you got to do.
Heard you say that 1,000 times. Got to have you.
Right. Yes. There's no doubt he's wearing down, and that doesn't bode well. You hope that he's a young, talented young man. He's a major league player, that he'll find that second win. But you just hope it don't continue to get worse, where he just continues to drop go to the bottom.
On a better note, Freddie Freeman, 40 doubles, back-to-back seasons with 40 doubles. He's the fastest one to that mark. Well, he's the first one, I think, to go 40 doubles back-to-back years since Raul Mondesi, and the fastest one to actually get to that point. Freddie Freeman, elite human being, unbelievable hitter, great defensive first baseman. Man, what a player he is.
Oh, I just love the guy. Like I said, loved him when he played for the Braves, not necessarily, when he's whipping up on us, but he's just a true professional. He brings it every day,
Yep.
He can pop a home run. I guess he's got 20. He's over 20. I think the Dodgers had 4 guys over 20. I think he's one of them with over 20 home runs. He's great defensively, obviously great in the clubhouse. Him and Mookie, you can build on those guys still for several more years. But Freddie's amazing. I love the guy when he's in a Braves uniform. I love him even more now that he's wearing the Dodger blue.
No doubt. Okay, Miguel Rojas. It seems like, with the addition of Rosario, who, by the way, has been just absolutely mashing the baseball since he came over. What a great addition that has been. Did that light a fire, Miguel Rojas?
I don't think there's any doubt about it, man.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in every walk of life.
Yeah, man. Or whatever level, it doesn't matter. And competition's great, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was a principal. If they brought this hotshot assistant principal in, I'd be looking on my shoulder like, holy cow, I better pick it up a little bit and be out the door. No, I don't think there's any doubt about it. That's a good thing in life, to have that stress on you and that, I remember years ago, Mike Ditka, the great football coach, had a heart attack, and everybody's like talking to him about stress. And typical Mike Ditka is, what are you talking about? Everybody's got stress in their life. If you don't have stress, you're not trying to do anything. And I think that's where we are here. Sure, he felt stress when that guy walked in the clubhouse. I know he's one of the best hitters against lefties, which is the Dodgers' bugaboo. They don't hit lefties. They're terrible hitting lefties as a team.
Yeah. And
Rosario can hit lefties. And you get a platoon situation. I think you mentioned maybe as he moved to second. Hey, there's no doubt it's going to light a fire on the guy running out there every day. It should. If it doesn't, it better light one pretty quick.
No doubt about it. Max Muncy, if extended period of time or whatever the injury situation with him may be, who's the everyday third baseman if it's not him?
Oh, yeah. That's scary. And, of course, Chris Taylor would play everywhere. I don't know. You don't want to limit him just to playing third base, but there you go. You move Rosario over there. I don't know. I don't know where you are there. You bring a kid up. Again, we're right in it. You're right in the dog, in the heat. You're in the frying pan. You're in the fire. That's all you're at right now. So
that kid would be Michael Bush, by the way, who's pretty darn good.
Hey, put him in there. At some point, it's next man up. If Max is out for a while after being hit by a pitch, it's amazing. Sometimes you get a kid in there and you see what happens. And he gets his opportunity, and there he goes. And I always think back to Matt Holiday, because that's something close to our heart and something we know something about. He had a great spring training with the Rockies. They sent him back down to Colorado Springs. Larry Walker gets hurt. He comes up. He never leaves the major league level.
Yep.
He got his chance. Like, wow, this guy not only looks good, he is good. So, those kids, they grind every day. They're working. So maybe you give Michael Bush in there and let's go. I'd play with that guy every day. And the thing about it, he's going to get better. It's like Outman. Those guys, it's easy to sit back and go, he's a kid who makes fun. Sure he does. We all do. I still do. At 65 years old, I'm just saying, at some point you got to ride those guys.
Yep.
Outman's going to be. He's going to be a stud. This Bush is going to be a stud. Maybe you just got to push him in a little quicker than you wanted to.
Yep, no doubt about it. So that transitions us to the outfield. You mentioned James Outman, David Peralta, Jason Heyward. You also mentioned not being able to hit left-handers very good as a team. So one of the byproducts of the moves that the Dodgers have made, bringing over Kike Hernandez and Rosario, is they feel like they can match up now against, whether it's a left-handed pitcher, right-handed pitcher, it doesn't matter. So let me ask you this. I know you're a coach that believes in, hey, you like analytics. You like data. You like to know who's playing good and who's not. And typically speaking, that's how you find out, right? It's through data and analysis and that kind of thing too. But you also like to use your eyes, and you also like to put your best player out there, especially in the biggest moments, regardless of if it's a right-handed pitcher or a left-handed pitcher. So let me ask you this. Do you like the fact, of course, we all love Kike, and he's been huge, and he's very clutch, but do you like the fact that he's taking at bats away from David Peralta, James Outman, and Jason Heyward? Is that a good thing? Is that a net positive for the Dodgers?
I don't I don't think it's a good thing. I mean, those guys, those guys you've been riding all year through 100 and something games, and they've been getting their opportunity. James started out, looked like he's going to be the rookie of the year, start of the year, and Heyward's been a good pro for a long time, and Peralta the same way. Yeah, I don't like the fact that they're losing at bats, but that comes back that Dave Roberts has such a tough job, and like you mentioned, analytics. Analytics are great. I mean, I use them as a high school principal too. We use all the data, quote unquote, to check on curriculum and see how we're doing our job. Baseball does it too. Analytics is great, but at some point, which we've all done, you got to have a feel for it. At some point, Dave Roberts is going to say, "Hey, put all that paperwork over there for a minute. I'm playing a hunch here. I've got a feeling that where I do know that Heyward hits this guy good, or Peralta hits this guy good. Whatever, you can use analytics, but at some point you're going to go, you know what? Scrap all that. This is my guy here today. This guy can get it done. I'm going to go with him." And I think Dave's good about putting that confidence on young men from a distance watching. I'm not in the clubhouse every day, obviously, but that's part of that job in the big leagues. He's not teaching those guys how to play baseball. They know how to play baseball. Or they wouldn't be there. His job is tough, trying to mesh all those parts together, and it's a tough one. But yeah, I don't like those guys losing at bat, especially James. He needs to get more.
Yeah. You said for a minute, hey, that just reminded me to about 2002. We were in Ada. The Ada. Then they had Chucky Caulfield. I don't know if you remember that name, but he went to OU. He was a shortstop type player, really great player. Yep. And we were in the regional finals, and they hit a leadoff triple. I believe it was like the bottom of the 7th inning. So if they score, they win the game. And so Coach Chappell walks the next two guys. I believe they hit a leadoff double. They hit a leadoff double. And then Coach Chappell actually walks the next two guys to walk the bases loaded with nobody out. And as he was telling us what he's getting ready to do, the plan, Willie and I are, Willie Young, the two assistants, we're sitting there looking at each other like, what the hell is this guy talking about? What the hell is he? I mean, what is going? So, anyways, I go up to John and I say, John, hey man, you're the head coach, so I don't think I'm questioning you here, but hey, can you at least give me an explanation of what you're thinking here? I mean, what's the logic behind this? And he goes, nope. I can't give you any logic. I just got a hunch. About 9 pitches later, we're coming off the field, and we got out of the inning. And, whenever he said that, every time I hear somebody say, hey, there are times in the game of baseball where you just go, hey, I got a hunch. It's either going to work or it doesn't, but I think it's going to work.
Gotta love Chapman. He probably said that so fast he probably maybe understood what he was saying. John's a great coach. You mentioned Willie, who's my 14-under coach, rest his soul, one of my favorite people in the world. But, you just play a hunch sometime. I mean, and you can't explain. He's right. I don't know if I had to explain, I can't explain it, but I'm just going to play the hunch. And I can see Chap doing that. He's a great coach for a long time and a great friend of both of ours. And we've all been there. I don't ask me why. I don't know. And I remember my first year coaching a guy named Gary Ward. I had his son.
Oh, yeah.
And I was intimidated by Gary, even though he's very nice to me his whole life. He always intimidated me. And he told me those exact words. Some night we'd had a game. I walked out, and Gary never did anything, just sat in his lawn chair with Kathy and enjoyed the games. He never question anything. He just enjoyed himself. But if I'd ask him something to do, and I said, Coach, I forget what the move I made was that blew up in my face. He goes, hey, as a parent, I appreciate you having the guts to go make that decision. He goes, in this game, you'll make decisions. Some of them you look like a genius, and others you look like an idiot. You just got to have the guts to go do it. And like I said, like Chap there, hey, this thing blows up in my face, I'll wear it. And sometimes you walk into one and everybody says, hey, great move. And you're like, I had no idea that's going to work. I didn't think that's going to work.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of this business and the game from little league on up. So, Chap.
And it's crazy because, hey, and the Dodgers use analytics more than anybody else, but there's just so many different times over the years where I've gone, what in the world are we doing? I mean, like a guy will go 3 for 4 and then not be in the lineup the next day.
Exactly.
Or we're pulling a pitcher after a certain amount of pitches. And then, I've just learned to just shut my brain down because it works way more times than it doesn't. So, Gary Ward used to always say, too, Coach, that hey, if you didn't go with the hunch, then what's the difference between you and every other coach? Your hunches are what separate you from everybody else, right?
we loved it as Dodgers fans a few years ago when Snell was with Tampa Bay,
Yeah.
and Cash had his deal. What do we got? One hit through six. I don't remember exactly what it was. Snell is eating us alive.
Yeah.
They have their thing. They're pulling Snell out. They're like, what the heck are they doing? The guy's like 50-something pitches, and we got a one hit. We didn't touch
Absolutely.
the guy. And then we come back and win the game. Of course, Snell got the heck out of there as soon as he could. And he's doing great things with the Padres, but I'll never forget that one. But that's something Cash, in his defense, he had done that all year. He may still be doing it. I don't follow him at all, but he did that all year, and he didn't. And to his credit, he did again. He made what he thought was the right move. As Dodger fans were going, good, get that guy out there, and but it blew up on him. But that guy did that all the time. Like I said, you follow it more than I do. I don't follow the Rays at all. Maybe he still does it. But
yeah,
that was not a good thing at that time. And Snell sure didn't like it. I remember when they took him off the mound. I mean, you could tell he wasn't going to be there the next year. And sure enough, he's a great pitcher.
Well, the Dodgers did that last year. I'm still smarting over this one.
Yeah,
Tyler Anderson, man, just rocking and rolling. But we'll move on from that because I could get into that conversation for a long time. Okay, huge series coming up. The Padres probably not going to catch the Dodgers. They're not. I believe they're 9 games back. I'd have to look at the standings right there. Somewhere in that vicinity. Dodgers are 17 games over 500, 2.5 games in first place over San Francisco. Comfortable lead over the Padres. That's not the situation for San Diego, though. They are just 4 games back from the wild card. We talked about it on the last show, Coach. That is a team that is scary with all the amazing talent that they have on their team. So this is a huge weekend because if you go over there and you get swept, or if you lose 2 out of 3, you're talking about the Padres really gaining momentum towards that wild card spot. And I think that's keeping them out of the playoffs would I think behoove the Dodgers because that is a scary team.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. That's the scariest team in baseball. Everybody's looking there like that's not a team you want to play in the first round. No matter what, just with the type of people they're going to run out there. It's scary. The Dodgers coming. This is a tremendous 4-game series, like you said. It's huge. It's bigger than huge, if that's such a thing. But then after that, you got the Diamondbacks coming up right after that.
Yeah.
If you stub your toe, then there's no Major League Baseball. There's no rest for the weary. You go right into a very good Diamondbacks team right after that. So, but like you said, this is a chance for the Padres got to be looking at like, we're going to make some. We can make some ground up right here. I assume Snell's throwing. I know it's a 4-game series. I hate it. He'd probably show up. I know Darvish is throwing tonight. And he always throws well against us. He ticked us off when he was with us. But anyway, or with her. Yeah, anyway, that's a whole other story. But, this is a huge series. And it's like you said, it's even bigger for the Padres, because they can see it a lot at the end of the tunnel. And this is our chance. We got to do something this weekend. So it's huge.
Do you like the extra wild card?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's brought more. Of course, when I hear some of the older fans say, well, way back when, we just had, there was just the National League winner and the American League winner. And then, way back when, we only had the National League Championship Series. Well, yeah, way back when, you only had 16 teams in the league. Yeah. So now that you have 30, you got to, for all of these cities that pay so much money and these teams mean so much to their economy, if by May you're playing meaningless games, that's not good for anybody. So
sure.
There's an argument to be had either way, but yeah, I think maybe it's a little bit watered down at this point, especially because the trade deadline, just made the trade deadline so difficult to judge. But okay, hey, Bobby Miller, Coach, I can remember you telling me this from man, I can remember this like it was yesterday. Your statement to me was, hey, bad dogs bite when they're pups, man. If a guy's good, you're going to know it right away. They're not going to shy away from competition, and they're going to show you from the time that you see them just how good either they already are or are going to become. Bobby Miller falls into that category for me. Bad dogs bite with their pups. So what do you think about the Yu Darvish Bobby Miller matchup?
Like I said, there's no way to hide that. You see a kid, okay, tonight wasn't good or whatever. This guy's got it. He's got what we call the it factor, whatever you want to call it. He's got that. No, that's a great matchup there. I got to see Bobby. I think last year he was in Tulsa. I think actually he was in Tulsa last year. I saw him pitch. Of course, he got 100 miles an hour. That's all you ever hear. But he has come a long way since then. I mean, even since the start of this year, he is so talented. And it goes back to what we said earlier. You're giving a guy a chance. I mean, we can sit around and talk about potential. That doesn't mean you haven't done anything yet. That's
Sure.
the old coach's line. It doesn't mean you haven't done anything yet because of potential. But Bobby's coming around, and this is a big matchup with Darvish. Like I said, Darvish, you never know. His stuff is so nasty sometimes. You see him throw, you're thinking, how's anybody ever hit this guy? But then he has those moments, as we've all seen. But it's a big matchup tonight, and it sets a tone for the series. If Bobby can go in there, and pitch well, and we get big wins starting out, again, it's still Major League Baseball. These guys aren't going to go hide anything, but it sure helps if you can walk in there in a crazy Petco Park tonight and pull one out. And that would be great, especially beating Darvish. That would be a big feather in his cap and the Dodgers' cap.
And doing it with a rookie.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and one that, there were a lot of people that felt like that. Not a lot of people, but I did hear some people say that they would have given Bobby Miller up for Dylan Cease. I was not even close to being in that camp. But Darvish does a couple of things that's really tough against the Dodgers. One is the Dodgers love to have analytics. They love to dive into it. They like to ambush pitchers based on the count and them knowing what location and pitch is coming because they're so good at the analytics department. So they're very good with that. Darvish with the 6 pitches, you never know what's coming. He's so balanced with his pitch mix. You don't know. I mean, you don't know if it's going to turn left. You don't know if it's going to turn right. Is it going to rise? Not actually rise, but the ride the top of the zone. Is it going to be? Is it going to be a fastball, a breaking ball? He's so balanced, and then also he's very motivated to beat the Dodgers after his experience with Los Angeles.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, you just said it again. He is so dirty, man. Sometimes you watch him pitch, and you're just like, nobody's ever going to hit this guy. Then he has those days where everybody hits this guy, or he walks everybody. But he's very motivated. He should be. Kind of a bad experience there, but I don't know. The analytics at some point, your computer just burns up and trying to spit out all the stuff on Darvish, trying to figure out what he's doing. I think sometimes maybe he don't even know what he's doing. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean he throws a pitch. Wow, that did something. I've never seen that before. You get the idea. His stuff's so good. Sometimes maybe he even shocks himself.
Yeah, no doubt. Any final thoughts before we get off of here for this week's Friday show? No,
man, it's great to see you again, and look forward to this big Dodger series. Like I said, I'm like you. The Padres scare me to death. I know we got a great team, but they're so loaded, and I get a little perturbed with them. They act like they're already done something. You kind of get sometimes the showboating and stuff. You're like, you guys haven't done anything yet. So, but they dang sure got the talent to do something. So I hope they don't start it against us this weekend. But
hey, how's the arm?
Hey, go Blue Jays, man! I guess you're starting football up pretty soon, huh?
No doubt. Hey, how's the arm? I know you came over to get your microphone the other day that we haven't quite got set up, and my dog did a pretty good job on your arm. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's good. It's just old. As you get older, your skin. I always thought my skin. You get tough. You always say he's got tough skin.
Yeah.
He's tough skin. He's been around a long time. I think the older you get, your skin gets more thin because your dog just jumped up on me, just being friendly, wagging his tail, jumped up on me. I looked down, looked like I was bleeding to death. So that shouldn't be happening. So I don't think it's his deal. Other than I'm just getting older. My skin it's easy to cut and bleed, I guess. So no, I'm doing good. We got her all taken care of. It's on the mend. So.
Hey, and by the way, it's been over 100 degrees for 10 days in a row, 11 days in a row in Oklahoma. Average daily temperature in Oklahoma, by the way, we learned this in Altus, Oklahoma, I believe in 1989, Coach. Average daily temperature in Oklahoma, 75 degrees. That was actually on the pamphlet in the Falcon Inn Hotel that we were checking in at. And my dad goes, 150 in the summer and it's 0 in the winter. That's how you get to your 75 degree average daily temperature. We're feeling that right now. And also, by the way, great advice from my dad, too. There's 3 things you got to have in life, Coach, especially during the summer at times like this. You got to have, obviously, food. You got to obviously have water. You know what the third thing is, Coach?
What would that be?
You got to have shade. You have to have shade. If you don't believe me, just go out in the middle of the pasture out in front of your yard and just stand there about 3 o'clock today. See how long you're going to last.
Well, me and my wife were laughing yesterday. We were on the road to Enid, looked up, and we kind of took the back way to Enid. We like to drive around and look at stuff, old people.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of sightseeing. And saw,
go out to the sod house out there in Aileen?
Yeah, we drove right by it. It was
okay, good.
It was shut down. We drove exactly where we went. Sod house.
Cleo Springs and all that?
Yeah, up to Helena, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We looked over, and one of the wind farms there, looked over, and there's about 40 cows lined up in the shade of the wind farm. I said, they got it. They know. I mean, they had this huge shade by the wind tower, and then babies and cows are on that east side of that tower getting some shade and soaking up. They know where the ponds are, too. So the cattle have figured it out a long time ago.
Well, there you go. You got your grass for the food. You got your pond for the water. And then you got your trees for the shade. Those are the three things. Now we got a giant wind farm. You got a giant wind tower giving you a big shade, so that helps too.
Okay,
Coach. It was great to see you again, and we'll see you next Friday.
All right, Case. Thanks.
The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers pounded out 8 hits and scored 7 runs last night en route to a 7-6 victory over the Round Rock Express. The AAA affiliates of the Texas Rangers on the night last night. Drew Avens went 1 for 2. Also, Ryan Ward, he's been very hot as of late, has his average all the way up to 249. He got off to a very slow start. Young man that has a great hit tool. Millbury, Massachusetts. He was a Woolly, went to high school with less than 100 kids in his graduating class. And by the way, I'm going Sunday to Oklahoma City. Going to get a chance to confirm, got this confirmed yesterday. Going to get a chance to talk to him and interview him Sunday. So looking forward to that. He went 1 for 4 last night, hit a home run. He hit home run number 15 on the season, played left field last night. David Dahl, the Dodgers just got him, veteran outfielder. He went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs last night as well. He was on base 4 times. He walked. To Bryson Brigman, a young man who played shortstop last night and left field. That just goes to show you the versatility, after the Dodgers. After Luke Williams left the organization, Yanni Hernandez got called up. Bryson Brigman got the brunt work of the shortstop action, and he did a very good job with it. So very versatile. He hits left-handers very well to go to show the versatility. He started at shortstop last night, finished the game in left field, went 1 for 4. Bryson Brigman. Pat Valleca, who the Dodgers just brought over I believe last week, he went 0 for 4 last night for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. Patrick Mazeika, the veteran catcher for Oklahoma City, he went 1 for 4 last night as well. Mark Washington got the open. The Dodgers, they like to take relievers, and just because you're a reliever doesn't mean your 1 or 2 innings has to come in the middle part or the end of the game. What they do is they take those same innings, and sometimes they let them open the game. This is the second time, I believe, maybe the third time this year that Mark Washington has been the opener for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. He went 2 1/3 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, had a strikeout and a walk, and 3 hits. John Rooney came in after him. He went 2 1/3 as well, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs. All of them were earned. He had a strikeout and no walks. Jake Reed had a good night last night pitching. He went 1 1/3, gave up no runs, no hits, and had no walks on the evening. So a good night for Jake Reed. Ken Giles came in and threw a scoreless inning, had 2 walks and a strikeout. Hey, James Jones is back. The big left-hander, very talented young man. 2 innings last night with no strikeouts, no walks, and no hits, gave up 1 hit. And then Brian Hudson, the big lefty, he actually got the win to move to 5-0 on the season. He went 1 inning scoreless last night and had a strikeout and a walk. So again, Oklahoma City, they won last night 7-6 in front of 4,090 fans at the beautiful Bricktown Ballpark to move the record to 70-33. Got the chance to go to beautiful Riverfront Stadium in Wichita, Kansas last night. Thank you to Tim Grubbs, who gave me media passes where I could access some of the spots in the stadium to get some good video. This is Nick Frasso just kind of showing his day. I did not get his heavy ball work where he throws the heavy ball against the wall or his flat work, but other than that, you got to see him loosening up, kind of the routine of a starter at the professional level. Some long toss, some flat work, and then you run around a little bit to get your muscles loose, obviously. Then you do a little stretching. You throw the heavy ball against the wall. You do your band work. You throw your bullpen. Then you come out and you do exactly what Nick Frasso did here, which is absolutely dominate. He went 80 pitches last night, 67% strikes, and he reached as high as 97. So Frasso, he's always had the big fastball. He's hit 100 multiple occasions in his career, but he's had some injury problems this year. It's great to see that his last 3 outings have had a link to them, plus the heavy velo, plus the 67% strikes, which is fantastic. And he was throwing a great changeup last night. There's that good little slider for a get-me-over strike. And then there's the four-seam that rides the top of the zone. You're getting ready to see a changeup. There's a four-seam at the top of the zone again. I want to show you this changeup, though, right there. Look at that thing fall off the table, pull the string. So Nick Frasso, again, very good last night, dominant in Wichita, Kansas. Yorbit Vivas is one of those young men that, hey, that's a pretty good, that's a daddy hack right there. He swings the bat hard, so that kind of looks like he's reckless, and it looks like he's just trying to just launch home runs, and that he's swinging way too hard. But some guys can actually swing hard like that. I'm going to go ahead and keep this rolling for a minute. But hey, Eddie Days, who was a AAA baseball player forever, first-round draft pick, 1972, coached with him forever, best friend, one of my best friends in the world. I would always ask him, hey, how hard should a kid swing? And he would say, hey, have them swing as hard as they possibly can until their head moves. Okay, so if your head's not moving yet, then you are not swinging hard enough. So, hey, although this swing is very violent and in some ways it looks out of control, let me actually back this up. Watch his head, okay? Watch the violent swing. First of all, let me roll it. Watch the violent swing. Very violent right there. But if you actually slow it down, watch the head. The head absolutely never moves. He has 2 eyes on the baseball right here, and as he swings, look, 2 eyes on the baseball right here, and as he actually hits the ball right there, look, 2 eyes still on the baseball. The head absolutely never moves. So although he's able to create that kind of powerful swing and get that kind of momentum and bat speed, he's doing it without moving his head. That's why Yorbit Vivas is one of the best young hitting prospects in the game, because he's able to create that kind of violence while also staying under control. So I was super impressed watching Yorbit Vivas in person. I've seen him several different times, but just kind of wanted to point that out as far as, one of the things that he's able to do that a lot of others aren't. Very cool experience. I got to interview Austin Gauthier last night for the second time. Then I got to watch him hit 2 doubles, which was really cool. And guess where they went? Yeah, right center. You guessed it. That was the first question I asked him right here. There's a double, and get to see him run. Asked him, hey, where did you learn how to stay inside the ball like you do? Where did you learn your hit tool to hit so well, the opposite field? He gave credit to his college hitting coach. So good interview. I also asked, hey, at the beginning of the year, it's the Midwest League. You're in Michigan. You're in northeastern Indiana. Very cold environment. How did you hit so well in that cold environment? He also gave credit to his time back in Hofstra. He just simply said, hey, when you're in New York and it's spring, you just got to figure out a way to produce through all that cold weather. So, hey, he gave credit for that. So, super excited to release that interview. I'll release it here in a couple of days, so be looking for that on the Dodgers Daily YouTube. So, Ben Harris, hey, he's 93-94, which that's not velo, that's completely off the charts. That's a good slider right there. So, what makes him so hard to hit? He led all of professional baseball in strikeouts per innings pitched. Well, here it is. I actually got to sit with the analytics guy last night for the Drillers, and Ben Harris, they actually keep a stat. He is in the top, don't quote me the exact percentage, but top 97 percentile or so of deception with his pitches. Now, here's why. Now, look at his glove right here. See how it's attached to his lower body, which means there's no separation there for the hitter to pick up the baseball at all. So watch this. When he separates, you don't see the ball. You still have not seen the ball as the hitter. So as he goes through this, watch what happens. Still haven't seen the ball. And then right here, this is what I call knees and elbows, because as a hitter, look how high his elbow and his lead arm is, and then his knee right here. So as a hitter, you're not seeing the ball. All you're seeing are knees and elbows, and that makes it very distracting. And you're just trying like heck to find the ball, which you still haven't done. Still haven't seen the ball yet. Still haven't seen the ball because, look, his glove is in the way right there. So with that glove being so high and in the way, it's actually hiding the baseball from the hitter. Still haven't seen the ball. Okay, right here you still haven't seen the ball because it's actually pointed down to the ground, and then even if you do, it disappears again. It goes back behind his head. So from right there to right there, it disappears again. So still, this ball is almost out of his hand. The hitter still has not seen the ball yet, and right here you still don't see it. Look, you can see right here there's still no white in the top of his hand, so you don't see the ball until it is absolutely just actually getting released from his hand. That is some serious deception, and that is why that 93-94 is so hard to hit for hitters, because the perceived velocity of that is very good, plus when you match with that slider, and that's why his in zone stuff, when he's in the zone, Ben Harris strikes out so many guys. So I wanted to show you that, the deception of Ben Harris when he pitches. Good night for Diego Cartaya. Of course, he catches the pins for the starting pitcher, and then he does all the long toss with Nick Frasso last night, the starting pitcher. I want to show you a couple of drills he does. I love that drill right there. Let me back that up. Okay, this is what allows him to be able to just react to the ball as far as when he doesn't know it's going to be in the dirt. Two balls, you don't know if it's going to go right, you don't know if it's going to go left, you don't know if it's going to come out of the right hand or the left hand. So he can't anticipate. He has to just react. And then here's him throwing a runner out, and I wanted to show you how quick he is to get rid of the ball. I really like his release and his mechanics. Okay, so from time to catch, watch, he catches the ball here. He is already working his way up through the ball. See how he saw the runner going? This is just instincts right here. I know the first baseman's yelling runner, but still as a catcher, this is just instincts as far as knowing the runner's going. So he's actually coming up to throw before he actually catches the ball. Now from here, watch, he just turns and he is gone with that baseball. That is a very, very quick release, no wasted movement, and he is able to get into that throwing position and get off a good throw in a very quick amount of time. So I want to show you those throwing mechanics of Diego Cartaya, why he's thought of so highly. And then he had a base hit up the middle last night. So it was a good night for Diego Cartaya. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him, go through his process and also have success right there with that base hit. Josh Stowers, watch this. That is sawdust. That was really cool to watch in person. Him just absolutely devour that bat and break his bat and turn it into sawdust right there and carried it with him. He is one strong dude. That takes some strength to break your bat like he did right there and then just not even let it phase you. He also hit an absolute massive towering home run last night. So it was a good night, exciting night, fun night to watch Josh Stowers for the AA Tulsa Drillers. I had never seen Audrey Acosta with my own eyes, and boy, he is impressive. Here's the thing, that ball has a lot of good, that one right there, that was a good changeup. But again, I got to sit with the analytics guy with the AA Tulsa Drillers, and I do have it confirmed that he had 18 inches of horizontal movement to his sinker. Now again, 93-94, that's not incredible velo, but when you match 93-94 with the fact that it's either arm side tailing back into a righty 18 inches, or right there like you saw, or it's going to the glove side and cutting 18 inches, when you match that with the 93-94 velo, that makes it very good, especially considering, let me back up that pitch, let me show you that. Let me show you that again. Here's what I'm talking about. Watch this pitch in live motion. Watch it tail to the arm side. This is 18 inches right there. That's a great pitch. And by the way, let me back it up one more time. Look where it's pitched to. Look at the location of this pitch. He pitches to the corners. And the thing, why he's so good at pitching to the corners, he's able to start the ball in the middle of the plate, then just let it tail away to the corner. So he's very good at that. He worries about his starting spots and lets the movement work. So it was exciting to see Audrey Acosta. I was always curious why he has been so good at working weak contact. Got to see it with my own eyes, got to see the movement, and got to see him pitch to the corners, let his ball move and work to the corner. Very impressive, Audrey Acosta. Well, it wasn't necessarily a night to write home about for the Great Lakes Loons. They have had a tremendous season to this point. As a matter of fact, they won the Midwest League North title for the first half, so they've already qualified for the playoffs. They have a 61-37 record last night, but as each and every team does through a big, long professional season, there are ups and downs. This is the down part for the Loons right now. At least recently it has been. They got beat last night by the Fort Wayne Tin Caps 10-0, a team that is 51-48 on the season. And on the night, offensively for the Loons, just 5 hits, and 4 of them came from 2 guys. Taylor Young went 2 for 4, and Yainer Fernandez also had a multi-hit day. He went 2 for 3, and then Jake Vogel got the 5th hit. So only 5 hits and 0 runs for the Great Lakes Loons, who, again, have been absolutely fantastic this year. Maddox Bruns got the start. He went in 4 1/3, and he gave up 5 runs, and they were all earned. He gave up 4 hits, had 7 Ks and 2 walks. So the Ks were good. The walks were down. That's all good, but the 5 runs, obviously, a little bit of a rough night for him, Maddox Bruns, but he has had a very good year for the High A Great Lakes Loons. Franklin De La Paz through 2/3 of an inning. He gave up 3 earned runs on 3 hits. He had no strikeouts and a walk. Salvin Lau, who is completing his transition from, this time last year, he was playing third base for the Great Lakes Loons. Now he's a pitcher. He went 1 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs. He had a strikeout and a walk, gave up 4 hits. And then Reynaldo De Paula, he was definitely the pitcher of the night when it going. He went 1 1/3 innings and gave up no runs. He had no strikeouts, no walks, no runs, and gave up no hits. One of those odd-looking box scores where it was zeros across the board for him. So, again, a rough night. It's been a rough patch for the Great Lakes Loons, but, hey, that happens to every team. Great year again, 61 37 on the season. Rough night as well for the single-A Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, who dropped a decision 4-2 last night to the Fresno Grizzlies on the night. The Quakes had 8 hits and only 2 runs. On the night, Jose Izado went 1 for 5. Josue De Paula had a hit as well. He went 1 for 5. Hey, Jake Gilov was in the lineup. He got a hit last night. He went 1 for 5 as well. Theron Lorenzo, he hit a home run number 17. Also, Jesus Galice went deep as well. He hit home run number 5 for Rancho Cucamonga. And so, hey, rough night offensively, only 2 runs, 8 hits, but there were some good individual performances there. Pitching-wise, Roque Gutierrez went 3 1/3 innings. He gave up 2 earned runs. He had 3 strikeouts, no walks, 6 hits. Yoeli Barra and his big fastball. I love the way he comes after hitters. He went 1 2/3 innings. He had 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, gave up no runs. Calvin Bautista gave up a couple of runs in 2/3 of an inning. Calvin Ramirez had 1 1/3 innings scoreless, had 2 strikeouts. And Ronaldo Yeen and his 100-mile-an-hour fastball had a very impressive 1 inning last night with 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. So, again, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, they dropped a decision last night 4-2 to the Fresno Grizzlies to move their record to 54 45 on the season. So there you have it. Busy show today. All 4 affiliates obviously in action. The Dodgers had a good series against the A's, a big series coming up against the Padres. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I also hope that you tune in. Next time you'll see me will be Monday morning when Austin and we join together to bring you our Monday mailbag. So going to be a fun weekend of baseball. The Dodgers and Padres, the affiliates are all in action. Tulsa Drillers are in Wichita. Oklahoma City, they're at home. I'm actually going to get to go to Oklahoma City on Sunday, have an interview set up with Ryan Ward, so super excited about that. And then also Great Lakes, they're in Fort Wayne for the weekend. And then the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, they are in Fresno. So a busy weekend of baseball and a big one at that. So can't wait to see you on Monday. Hey, before that, though, just a reminder, if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily, we have a link to our GoFundMe account in the description. Also, don't forget to like this video, interact with this video, leave a comment. Hey, keep doing all those things because that helps Dodgers Daily continue to grow and helps us keep doing what we love to do, which is providing videos and content like this in the future. So as always, I would like to say, hey, thank you for tuning in and go Dodgers.